Good morning. Today is Friday, June 20th, 2025, and this is our daily collective tarot and oracle reading on Jade Emerald Green. Oh my gosh, I hope you had an amazing Juneteenth, y'all. I know I sure did, and I am recuperating from it, so I wanted to get on camera today, but that's not going to happen. But what is happening here is a slight adjustment to the verbiage and our asks for our tarot readings today. I really enjoy just asking, what the fuck are we doing here? And I want to honor that spirit. I feel like cursing is liberation. Saying what needs to be said is just a form of honoring one's authenticity. And I curse a lot. So, I thought about how these questions are, and I wanted to, have clarity in what we're asking, but also ask it in the way that we would if we were just speaking to ourselves casually or speaking to a friend casually, things like that. So, just stick with me as we go along to this reading. Okay, so we have a beautiful Pope Tarot deck with us, and it's giving high level imagery today. When we ask what the fuck are we doing here, we have the Six of Pentacles. So that deals with the number 6, giving and receiving. Pentacles deals with our material world, external matters, tangible things, assets, money, time. Time is a man-made construct, of course, but we all know that time is money. Time is wealth. We can't get time back. We can get money back in one way or another most times, but we cannot get our time back. So, Six of Pentacles, we are face to face with the universal scale of give and take. Like I said, money, time, energy, every resource that matters. Whether we're flat out surviving or we're already comfy, reciprocity rules the game, y'all. Those tattooed scales on the giver's hand reminds us that even small exchanges are acts of justice. And we're going to be getting to that in a moment. Our task here is to keep them in balance, honoring what we share and what we keep without tipping into obligation or entitlement. Y'all. Oh my gosh. So I love me some Pentacles, as you all know. I think dealing with the give and take in life and being honest about it is just something we must honor, because like it or not, it's something we have to engage in order to continue living this life regardless of anything. So, just take stock of this imagery that we have today. If we go into the major arcana, 6 is embodied through the Lovers. So, that is a human embodiment of give and take, of collaboration. We touched in on that a bit yesterday. So, I just want to keep kind of that parallel in numerology in mind. So, now that we know what the fuck we're doing here, what the fuck should we do about it? What's our recommended course of action? We have the Page of Swords. Now, to be honest, I do not really fuck with the Page of Swords like that. It often comes up with its shadow side in a lot of the readings that I do. And it just for me doesn't give me the energy that I be seeking out, as far as the energy one should have when trying to affect change or problem solve. But every card does have its good qualities, its useful reminders, and the aspects of the Page of Swords that is handy for us is the ability to research, to investigate, to do or engage in skill building so that we become our better selves. Even though I personally don't fuck with the Page of Swords like that, I do see these important, necessary qualities within this card. And at the end of the day, the Page is a higher octane of the sword as we are building up to that mental self-mastery. So, yes, it is time to sharpen the mind and wield a little catty ass bitch energy in the service of truth. We need to lean into the study, the research, the self-interrogation. By dotting every I and crossing every T, we protect the scales from sloppy insight or half-baked assumptions. There's nothing wrong with a razor tongue when it's aimed at ignorance, especially our own. That is our recommended course of action, y'all. That is what the fuck we should do about what the fuck we're doing here. So, now we gotta ask, where's the fuckery? What is the action to avoid? The sun, y'all, it is back, and it's not our friend today. And we're on the edge of summer solstice. Is it today? Is it tomorrow? Is it the next day? I mean, we're basically here. Okay, so surprise, surprise, ego can still hide in the daylight, y'all. Toxic positivity or performative shine burns hotter than it heals. We avoid overexposure, ours or anyone else's, because an ego running too hot scorches every garden we're trying to grow. As I was analyzing this prior, if we don't have a sun, we don't live. If the sun is too close to us, we also don't live. We all die. So having the sun where it is important to maintain balance, of order to maintain the essence of life, as we know it on Earth. So I think that's just a good analogy or imagery to have in order to understand why, the sun, though necessary, absolute, key, vital to life, everything in this life can be used for poison or it can be used for medicine. So that's just something to, be mindful of here. So now we have to ask ourselves, like, when we get to a point of getting to what the fuck we should do about something, we then have to ask ourselves, what happens when we do what the fuck we're supposed to do? And that's in our 9 of Pentacles. Now, I love me some higher octane Pentacles energy. And coming up from 6 to 9, 9 the number of completion. It is evident that if we honor balanced exchange and we wield keen intellect, we level up to independent abundance. That's that self-made satisfaction, gardens flourishing, coin stacking, spirit steady. We stand in soft luxury because we are built on solid ground. I still love the imagery. Like, I see, like, 9 of Pentacles in this Pope Tarot is kind of like a pop star. Like, you see all those gold records behind her. You see all the things, like, self-satisfaction, very self-assured. I really appreciate. You already know I love the illustration of this deck, but I fucks with the 9 of Pentacles hard. So yes, that is what the fuck should happen when we do what the fuck we're supposed to do. Now, what the fuck fuckery? What's the likely outcome if we follow the action we should avoid, which is like the shadow side of the sun, the ego aspects of this? We're chasing hollow victories with the 5 of fucking swords. And notice how the sun is red in the 5 of swords. I mean, that's just the perfect imagery there of just like, that's the sun getting too close, right? So chasing hollow victories lands us in mind games, conflict, and Pyrrhic, victories. An ego-driven quest to win at all costs empties the pockets that we're trying to fill. So we end up losing more than we gain. We ended up, in that give and take, we become out of balance. Not every battle is worth fighting. I think sometimes in the battle for reciprocity, we have to choose peace. We have to have that bitch ass John Lennon energy. you know. Peep the previous reads if you want to have a reference for that joke. So yeah, let's stay away from the fuckery. Stay away from the sun with its big old ego. That way you don't have to encounter situations that feel like the Five of Swords. And our clarifier here today is justice. Everything boomerangs, whether today or 9 months from now. Integrity delivers receipts. We're asked to embody fairness, own our part in the exchange, and remember, the scales stay honest even if we pretend they don't. So let's take a look at this Justice card, because it's actually my favorite card in this deck, hands down. So we have Pam Grier-looking woman with a knife, a sword. I like saying sword. And the two pillars of justice here, even though there's not an outright scale, it's definitely inferred through its imagery that there is a need to restore balance. And that's evident for our life. And I feel like the fire in the background behind our queen, our Pam Grier looking woman, is very evident of ethereal change. Like, fire is leveling. Lies tend to spread like wildfire, but after everything clears, it's just the roots. It's just the truth. So, as we are connecting our justice element with the Six of Pentacles, it's very important that our internal sense of justice receives reciprocity in our external world. Like, how is justice manifesting in your life? I know what manifesting is used it's like overly saturated. The word is present in so many different things. You're manifesting, you're doing all this. But I am trying to use this in the most proper sense. Also, fuck manifest destiny. I hope you had a good Juneteenth. I don't know. It's just important to ensure that what we're seeing internally, what we're feeling spiritually about our sense of justice, is tied to reality. So, I really appreciate this reading today because it kind of, got me to thinking about, what is our ebb and flow? What does equilibrium look like in these days? And I think that's also evident when we transition to look into our oracle pools, starting with the Prism Oracle. We have flow, which is embodied in the aquamarine, that's seawater. We have to honor the ebb and flow. It's always moving. It's always, balancing salinity and depth. Illumination, that little burnt yellow, that true light reveals it. It can incinerate, but we have to make sure it doesn't. We have to let illumination expose truth without wielding it like a flamethrower. This, I feel like embodies what the tarot did in 6, the Prism Oracle did in 2. I think this is just our greater message that's adding up today to honor what justice means for you. Our celebrity spirit oracle, Freddie Mercury. You are a legend. We remember that legendary shine is rarely solo. Freddie needed queen. We need our collective. Our brilliance blooms through collaboration and honest exchange through that Six of Pentacles style. Yo, I love me some Freddie Mercury. I mean, on top of having just like a bomb ass name, Freddie Mercury with Queen was able to make hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. I know he had a, solo thing going on, but, in the frame of our topic today, it's just important to know, like, as strong as we can shine on our own, when we are in a sincere effort to collaborate with others, that you can remove the ego, you can remove the things that kind of tend to get in the way of good things happening. You can create success. Just imagine, like, you being very self-assured like a Freddie Mercury, right? But then your results still being bigger than you ever imagined. I'm thinking of We Will Rock You. I'm thinking of, Somebody to Love. I'm thinking of Bicycle, which is one of my favorite Queen songs. Another one by Sedus. Like, you just have hit after hit after hit after hit. Everything is impacting the world. Like, world impact. Like, that's what each of us are capable of when we are tapping into our greater selves, our higher power. So let's embody the spirit of Freddie Mercury and find the people that are going to be our queen. What's the tea, y'all? Fishing for comments. Okay, let's look at this card right quick, because I find it real funny. How catty this deck is right now with this card. It shows a young woman in what looks to be her therapist's office. The card is coming from the point of view of the therapist, and it seems like whatever this woman is saying, the therapist is writing down. And it seems like this young woman is fishing for comments in this, or compliments in this therapy session. I think I've never really thought of, though, and this is where I want to point out the shade, I've never really thought of anyone fishing for compliments, doing so in a therapy session is very, plausible. But you tend to think of, like, someone coming up to you on the street and, saying something that is just like, oh, do I look fat? Or your friend saying that, or your partner saying that, where it's just like, having that need for external validation. And why I find this card to be so catty, because it's implying, like, bitch, don't go to your therapist. But ultimately, it does get down to the work that needs to be done if one is searching for external validation in a way that is disingenuous to their sense of healing and sense of growth. Is this something that you're engaging in? Or is this something that somebody is engaging in? If that's the case, then it's time for you to remind yourself, or remind them, of their Nine of Pentacles energy that they need to search for. The Six of Pentacles energy that, they need to be more giving toward themselves, so that they don't have to look to others to fill up their cup. It's something that we have all done at one point in our life or another, but at a certain point, when you understand that you have everything that you need in this life to do what your mission is, and do it so honorably, then fishing for comments or compliments or whatever doesn't become a practice that you engage in. It's something that you unlearn eventually when you are in a seeking spirit of healing. We have in our Broken Mirrors Oracle pictures, regrets, reminiscing, missing you. This card reminds me of the song Tu Foto by Azuna, the canción. Like, it is really evident that pictures hold power. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? It reminds me of a recent experience I had with a picture. I was at a friend's house, and I came across a picture that was taken by my ex, who was a creative, right? And although I am not on good terms with that person, I still was able to appreciate the talent that was contained in that picture, the powerful message and symbolism, the imagery within that picture, the power of that picture that he took. And it also reminded me deeply of like the importance of managing our ideals, right? When we see somebody exhibit a great quality, we know somebody's like higher potential when they are in the seeking spirit of healing themselves, and they are in the energy of engaging with their mission, engaging with their talents consistently. It does bring about a sense of like reminiscing if you later, have encounters or experience with persons that aren't maintaining the healing space for themselves that they need, because that makes their encounters with you harder, your encounters with them harder to maintain. And I just think of so much power that are held in photos, or it can remind you of where you were, where you once been, where you are, and where you want to be. Pictures is why I find tarot and oracle readings and doing spirit mediumships through the cards very significant. The way in which I relay to people who are new to tarot and oracle on, like how I view it is I liken it to Google Translate. It is like a translator for your intuition. A lot of us are visual learners, and sometimes our intuition is trying to communicate with us, but may not have the proper and necessary words. So, having a visual aid does help. And when it comes to pictures and justice, we can, hold pictures down as evidence. We can hold, pictures down as reminders of where we don't want to go back to, where we need to go to have a better sense of reciprocity. Yeah, so I don't know, this I feel is powerful, and I hope I'm relaying this in the best way today, because I don't want my level of tiredness to dull the message here. But as we are getting into the final stretch of it, we go into our Dark Confessions Oracle. I'm afraid that your feelings for me are not mutual. Oh, wow. So, misaligned intentions warp justice faster than any thief. Clear, direct communication is the antidote. We say the quiet parts loud because nothing skews balance like unspoken expectations. Y'all, whether you are seeing yourself in a situation where you have perhaps feelings for somebody and they may not have them for you, or you see yourself in a situation where someone else has feelings for you but you don't have feelings for them, communication is important. Anything less than a fuck yeah is a no. And also, like, it sometimes you gotta be painfully obvious. I don't know, like, I understand people have different communication styles, but assertiveness is the grounding level. If you're one in which you are unsure or you're afraid if someone has a mutual feeling, for you, then just ask. Go out of your way and just like state, okay, this is what it is. Do you feel the same way? Yes or no? And I also want to emphasize, because a lot of people, we don't always know who our admirers are and things, and we may have different things going on in our life that kind of like take priority, and we don't necessarily do or say the things to make things clear on a grounding level with the other person. Like if our energies are not aligning, be like, hey, look, you may be a friend, or you may be, someone who is around, but I do not have any romantic feelings for you. Like, I think anything less than that also can lead to levels of confusion where someone's thinking like a situation is a fuck yeah, and it really isn't for you. So, I know Dark Confessions, this is like a romantic oriented deck, but it really doesn't even have to be that deep as far as like romantic connections. It could be about simply like you and a friend having, like something you want to do. Like, it could be as simple as like, oh, I want to go to the movies. Oh, no, I don't. Like, or, like, it could be anything, really. And I just really feel like this, when we think about the greater collective, like, I think the larger message of this is making sure you're on the same page, even if that page is y'all agree to disagree. That's being on the same page too. Once you have the proper conversation about it, things need to flow. Things need to have illumination. You need to have the scales. You need to have the pillars. Restore order. Restore, like, you can't always wait for order to be restored. Sometimes you have to initiate that restoration of balance. Sometimes it will take time, and we'll get into that shortly, but being proactive about a situation is the best thing that you can do most times. Sometimes inaction is the best action too, but from what we're getting from the read today, action with discernment is key. Moving into our angelic connections, we have the aura card again. Everyone and all living things have auras, visual manifestations of the angel energy surrounding us. By raising your vibrational energy and training your eyes, you will be able to see auras. Auras are data. I think perhaps the modern conflation word for aura would be vibes, right? Well, what's the difference between a vibe and an aura? I feel like it's in its constancy, right? I feel like auras, algebra heads, please help me, x-axis, while vibes are the y-axis. I feel like vibes are subject to change more quickly than like aura. Aura, I feel like, is like more long-term, changes over time, But in any case, training our perception, our visual perception, auditory or intuitive, it helps us detect imbalance before it bites us. We raise our frequency so our senses catch truth faster than a clever lie. Like I said, lies spread like wildfire, but at the end remains the truth at the roots. So, here's the thing. After pulling all of these, the tarot and the oracles that we've covered thus far, I did have to take a moment to figure out what is my ask when it came to the timing oracle. And what ended up coming about was the question, when will the pendulum swing? When will the scales shift to restore balance? When will we see the Six of Pentacles situation and this justice? When will we reap the benefits of this? Presumed to be benefits. And I asked this question with really clear intention early this morning when I did this pool originally. And I found that pulling the February card. So this is I'm looking at February 2026, And, I did, pull the following card just to reconfirm context. 9 months from now, March 2026. Why I find this to be very powerful and very significant is because of the seasons, the timing of the seasons, y'all. Right now, right, we about to be in, summer. This is like the time of solstice right now. Summer is the time of things growing. Our agriculture, our plants growing from, what we planted in the spring. Then we get to fall. Fall is the harvest. That's what us reaping what we sow, right? And then we get to the end of a cycle, a period of rest in the winter. But the thing about these seasons is that winter always turns to spring. Always turns to spring. If you're in the Midwest, it might take a sweet ass time, but it will always turn to spring, y'all. Balancing justice is a long arc. Seeds we plant in integrity today will ripen post-winter when fresh cycles demand a new equilibrium. So give yourself some time. I mean, if you know anything now, if you're paying attention, you already know Pentacles takes its sweet ass time. But we need that because we need to appreciate the journey. We need to appreciate the cycle. We need to appreciate the seasons. So let that pendulum swing. It'll eventually get to the other side. And then it'll come to rest. In conclusion, y'all, we are living in a masterclass in reciprocity. When we balance generosity with discernment, we rise from the 6 to 9 of Pentacles, grounded, abundant, legendary. When we chase hollow sunshine, y'all, we tumble into the 5 of Swords. Our choice reverberates through every season ahead. Let's keep the scales honest. Wield our intellect like a well-sharpened blade and shine without burning the village down. So this has been your reading. We're clocking in at 32 minutes. This just keeps getting longer and longer. That's absolutely fine. Who I respect on here? Kai Pacha. Kai Pacha will explain things until it needs, you get to the point of what it needs to be said. So let this be what it is. But also, check out the Paleo reports. If you like a good astrological, frame of like what the fuck is going on here, go to Kai Pacha. I am going to start more directly incorporating astrological reads into this. I do think having these things are important as we're looking at the cards. But you are witnessing a process in action. You're witnessing, something being built from the ground up. So in these very early sessions, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listening. And I hope that you are going to enjoy the rest of your day. Come back here tomorrow because we're going to do it all over again. My commitment is to do these things every single day until I can't do it anymore. I feel like, as it gets more stops further down the line, we may move to weekly reads, but all of this is, subject to change. But I value this commitment that I've instilled for myself. It's very cathartic for me, and I hope it is helpful for you, for someone in your life. Alrighty, y'all, have a blessed day.